Welcome back to Around the World with Dane Waters. It's once again we were talking about just at the monologue and about division, and with Anthony what we're just talking about in Lebanon about the division there, and so let's just continue talking about how the world is clearly divided. I'm welcome and honored to have once again Ejike Okpa, who's with us from Houston, Texas, a good old
No,
Texan.
no,
Yeah.
Dallas
Oh, wait,
better
no,
than
Dallas. Oh, I'm sorry. How dare I? How dare I insult you like that? But anyway, from Dallas. Um, the home of Jerry Jones. But anyway, it's good to have you on the show. It's always listen. It makes me humble when I realize that people get up in the middle of the night, literally, to be on the show. So I appreciate it.
well, thank
Um,
you.
well, let's talk about well, first of all, the main topic we're supposed to talk about is what's going on between about the Palestinian state. But I'm going to ask something that I swore to myself I would not ask and talk about. But as an American, and you're there. I would like to get your take, if you want to talk about it, is that on the Charlie Kirk assassination. I mean, what is your take on that? I mean, you see how much division is happening in America because of it. Do you have any comments about that?
Well, yeah, thank you for asking. Actually, I met Charlie Kirk 2021, in Dallas when they had the CPAC. We talked. I heard his views. Since then I've listened to what he had to say. It's very unfortunate in today's America that because of divergent of views, somebody wants to kill you, as opposed to, I agree or disagree. So it's just sad. I was saddened and I'm still saddened by the fact that somebody actually went and targeted him and shot him and killed him. And it's, created a lot of uproar. And then a lot of people now say, hey, we want more of Charlie Kirk. Uh, what 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 that will lead to in terms of our politics, I don't know. But remember when Trump was running, there was three attempts on his life, and again for the same views of what he stands for, and it's very unfortunate in America. And then you hear people on one side cheering for it, and again, why? My thing is why I didn't come to this type of America, but I'm not leaving America either. I'm just gonna stick it out here and express my views the best way I can and vote the best way I want. So
Well,
that's
it's very important because yeah, as you know, I mean, I've been involved in political campaigns for almost 40 years, and political campaigns are very tough. People say things. It's vitriol on both sides, and
mhm.
but there's no justification, zero justification. I mean, Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. I mean, listen, I'd be
Yes,
around. I don't, there's certain things he said I didn't agree with. Just like there's, we're human beings. I disagree with some
no,
things you say. I mean, it just happens.
no,
But under no circumstances should it be turned into somebody taking a rifle and killing him. It's just, that's the epitome of defeating what every soldier, everyone has fought for in America is the opportunity for free speech. So anyway, I appreciate your words on that, and let's just hope that America finds a path forward. So let's talk about let's go to the other side of the world and get your thoughts on what's going on with the recognition of a Palestinian state, because you just had the President Trump in the UK. He met with Starmer. He met with the King. Um, now you have the UK, Australia, and Canada, the largest English-speaking countries in the world, now coming out and recognizing a Palestinian state, and Trump has refused to. So I don't know where you want to take this conversation, but what do you think first and foremost about the recognition of the Palestinian state?
well, again, the world is always in flux. The always things being said since the creation of Israel in 1948. You know, every day since then, we have heard things. People have won Nobel Prize and on the situation between the Palestinians and the Israelis. But what have we gotten? If these countries are coming down and recognizing it, what does it really mean? It does it mean that the challenges and the conflicts in in that part of the world is going to be resolved and people are going to respect their recognition. And then all of a sudden, there's kumbaya, peace, peace, peace. But so it is good that they're stepping forward, but until this idea of love thy neighbor, you don't have to love thy neighbor, but you can tolerate your neighbor, and in order to live, peacefully. But if the Israelis and the Palestinians don't see eye to eye, and no matter what the outsiders say, and they still go find ways to undermine each other, that part of the world will never have peace. And America, you know, might come out and said, okay, we recognize the two party state. What does it do? Just take it as a family situation. When two people don't want to be together as husband and wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, or however it is they want to do it, then go your separate ways and then find a reason to tolerate. You don't have to. Again, the golden rule of love thy neighbor obviously hasn't found any roots in that part of the world. And for me, it saddens me, being a Christian, not a fanatic Christian, that's where Jesus was born or raised and died and stuff. So how come Jesus hasn't sent everybody a text message, some kind of thing in their mind and say, hey guys, why are you killing each other for this sort of thing? Is he fighting over a piece of land? This is the land you're going to be buried under, when you pass. So, do something better than this. Obviously, there's no superior or intervention from anybody until the human factor comes to play. And that human factor has to be the individuals who look at each other every day and point gun or bomb each other in order to have what it is they want to have. I don't know what it is they want to have because it hasn't done anybody any good. So the recognition by these other countries, I don't think is going to make any difference because they're not going to send their soldiers over there. Australia doesn't have its fighting army. England doesn't. Canada doesn't. So what does that mean? They're still going to find their way and go to U.S. and try to persuade the U.S. government, currently led by Trump, to say, hey, do this. So until we see that that happen where U.S. now said we recognize the Palestinian, and remember it was in the Trump first term that Jerusalem was recognized as the capital of. So is he going to come now and do something else? I don't know, but I am not jumping up and down because of what Canada, UK, and Australia has done because these are chicken countries when it comes to military might. They're not going to do anything. Excuse my expression.
No, no, I can't say that too loud because I'm sitting in UK, so I don't want them coming after me here. So I have to be respectful to them. But I agree. But here's the other thing. I mean, I mean, I'm a big supporter of Taiwan. Taiwan is a country that has defined borders, has a democracy, has an operating government, has an operating economy. Yet the world refuses to recognize them as an independent country. Yet you have these countries. I think it's now 140 countries that are trying to recognize or have recognized a Palestinian state. And I'm like, okay, what boundaries? Well, there's nothing really to recognize. So I find it very difficult to even understand the logic there about what they want to accomplish. And just for background for the audience, when Ehud Barak was Prime Minister of Israel, I worked on the Palestinian peace process. I worked with the peace negotiators trying to find a resolution to this Palestinian issue and the Palestinian homeland and it's just you're right. Love thy neighbor, respect thy neighbor. But as you said, you don't have to love your neighbor, but is it really worth the killing of 50, 60, 70,000 people just because you don't want to respect them? And I will say, because I must say this, that what Hamas did on October 7th is heinous. There's no excuse for it. It's reprehensible. But the reality is there is a division, there's a separation between Hamas and the Palestinian people. They are separate. And we have to recognize that. And the people who want to lump every Palestinian as a member of Hamas is just blatantly wrong. So let's talk about politics in the U.S. because you are one of the smartest guys I know about politics in the U.S. So, what you know your stuff. And so let's say that America chooses not to recognize a Palestinian state, and Trump stays strongly in support of Israel. What are the politics behind that? Do you think with the midterm elections coming up that this will be an issue in the elections at all?
Well, I mean, the midterm is always a test of whether a president keeps, and especially in this case, the House and the Senate, And so it's a dicey situation. You know how powerful the Jewish community is in America, with about 9 or 8 million of them. They are the most powerful minority people in America because they know how to tell their story. They know how to use the leverages of whatever it is, or levers or whatever they have, in order to get attention of the politician and the policymakers. And so I don't see a situation where Trump is going to jump in with, or everybody else who is recognizing Palestinian and say, hey, I'm with you. Because again, what's the geography? Boundaries have to be defined. So you have Hezbollah in the north, and then you have Hamas in the south. And so how do you do that? I think the whole challenge of Israel was when Israel was created in 1948 in the middle of what the Palestinians call their own homeland. And so you have that division, the West Bank, the people in the north and the people in the south, and it has made it very difficult. So how do you now? Trump had said, hey, we're going to move Hamas, we're going to relocate Hamas. I mean, he said that at the beginning of his second term. But how is that going to happen? This is not just like, moving a neighborhood and to another part of the neighborhood. So it is one of those things that I said, please God, and please whatever anybody else is worshiping as their supreme being, how do we stop this sort of something, in today's world of 21st century? Because it's very unsettling sight when you see the destruction, the kids, the civilians, of course, the Palestinian Hamas people triggered this stuff, October 7th, 2023, 2022, that now that the whole world is, what if they didn't do it? Would we have something different? Something would have happened again, because it is one of those complex situations in the world. It's like one of those things that they say in my native land in Igbo, that it's like a fly perched on your part of your body. If you let it sit there, it's going to suck you to death. If you hit it, you're going to hit yourself. So what do you do? like we
Yeah.
say, like we say in West Texas, it's a bad weather. Just sit through it and enjoy it. Yeah. So what I don't know. Again, people smarter than me, people who have hands on what the situation, have gone ahead and won the Nobel Prize, and then what? Again, and
Well,
then
let
what?
me. Well, yeah, that's a good question. And then what? Because we have to, we need to find a way to start solving some of these issues. But let me ask you this as a Nigerian, in the Nigerian audience that we're talking to today, do you think like a country like Nigeria, should they take a side in a conflict like this? Should they support the Palestinians? Should they support the Israelis? Should they just ride it out like you're talking about?
I don't know what Nigeria will be supporting because, like Nigeria is a chaotic state. Nigeria is a tribal country. So if Nigeria is going to say we're supporting one side of a conflict in another country, well, how about the people that are agitating for Ududuwa state? How about people who are agitating for Biafra? I mean, today most Nigerians think that that country needs to be divided because somehow they haven't found the reason to love each other. Now, as a tribal nation, like tribal people don't build successful nations. You have to become citizens. And Nigerians have difficulty becoming citizens because anytime you see them, what do you see? You see a tribal man. When you look at Tinubu, you don't see a Nigerian, you see a Yoruba man. When you look at Obasanjo, you don't see a Nigerian, you see a Yoruba man. When you look at Buhari, you don't see a Nigerian, you see, because they're dressed to let you know. If you were to step into Nigerian National Assembly, you could tell who is from what part of the country. So it's not even a national assembly, it's a tribal council. Because it is hard for you to have come from one part of Nigeria and go to another part that you have spent most of your life to be able to participate in that politics. It's very unlikely a Sokoto man would be the Obi of Onitsha, even if you are born in Onitsha and you're smarter than everybody in Onitsha, or vice versa. So until those things are resolved, I don't think Nigeria should participate on international issues that has to do with people agitating for their rights, because then in Nigeria, is a very tough situation. So Nigeria should just be quiet and say, hey, like we say in Dallas, may you all get along, may you all get along.
Well, listen, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's interesting. It's always it's like when you're flying on a plane. You always take care of yourself before you take care of your
Mhm.
child sitting next to you. And then this is the thing. Nigeria has so many issues. And divisions. It needs to be addressed. But let me ask you this question: do you think there's any chance that what you're seeing in the Middle East between the Palestinians and the Israelis, do you think that that type of conflict could consume Nigeria? Do you think you just said that people want it to be two countries? Do you think that Nigeria is heading in a direction where it could end up being, fighting for two different states?
I don't think so. I mean, the first attempt of Nigerian people wanting to secede was the Biafran thing, and we know how that ended. And then when you look at the basic nature of the Nigerians are the people, you've heard the expression, suffering while smiling. You know, they are basically docile people. It's a top-heavy culture. From their villages, their chiefs and the Igwes and the Obas and the Amainables and Oni suppress them. So how are you going to be a successful nation when your people that look like you, Nigeria don't even have just intertribal challenges. They have intra-tribal challenges.
Yeah.
So even from their various compound, I said if you make every compound in Nigeria a nation with an oil well and $1 million to get started, they're still not going to get it figured out because Nigerians are inward thinking people. They are not outward. Again, that's the basic difference between citizens and tribal people. In America, we have 580 something tribal nations, and they still, as of today, don't collaborate.
Yeah.
So tribal people are tribal people. Again, until you see a president of Nigeria, you begin to, is he Yoruba or this, you don't know. But as long as they come out on stage and put that image of themselves. The other tribe I say, oh my God, okay, these people are trying to lord it over us. When is our turn going to come? And so I don't think Nigerians are not going to be like Israelis and the Palestinians because they are too comfortable wanting to go to England. They're not too comfortable wanting to fly anywhere else. They don't want to build their home. You've had the expression Nigerians are very smart people, but how come smart people are not running a smart country? You
Yeah.
cannot be smart in the books. I don't even think the books they read, they understand what it is they have read. But they say Nigerians are smart. Okay, then if you're smart, show me your water system. Show me, I mean, you've been to Lagos. You see the trash everywhere. You go to most of the hospitals. Why come Nigerians are producing some of the best doctors? But the president of Nigeria, when they get a small stomach ache, they're flying outside of the country to get treated. I mean,
Yeah.
have you?
No, no.
So,
No,
so,
no,
so
you're right. You're right. You're right. You're
we,
right. You're
we,
right. You're right.
we're just
Yeah.
gonna have Nigerians, sit over there and sock it, and but they shouldn't tell anybody outside of themselves what to do because they haven't figured it out themselves.
Yeah. Well, listen, sadly, as always, we're out of time. I always love our conversations. I really do. Anyway, good luck in Dallas. I'll get it right next time. Dallas versus Houston. I love Dallas better than Houston, so I'll stand up for Dallas. But anyway, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it
Well,
as
thank you for
always.
having me. For those of us that live in Dallas, we call the Nigerians that live in Houston as the Ajegunle of, excuse
Understood.
me.
Anyway,
Thank you.
no, no, no. Thank you. Anyway, thanks for being with Dane Waters with Around the World with Dane Waters, and it's always a pleasure. And we'll see you next week.
Tk you,
Thank you
Dan.
very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.